We also talked a bit about this dude, Officer Derek Colling, and we talked about his past with Metro and, the people he killed here in town and why he was fired from Metro. Well, he ended up being hired in his hometown of Wyoming, rehired, and he killed somebody there recently. So we had a couple updates you posted on the website, Kelly, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so the first update is that they officially confirmed that he was the deputy that shot Robbie Ramirez.
Which they didn't want to release because the sheriff was up for re-election. So as soon as the elections were over, then they came out and said, it was this guy that we never should have rehired in the first place.
Yeah, the sheriff was up for re-election, and he won, of course. But they released that information. The district attorney released it at 4 o'clock on election day when, obviously it had been decided already. Mm-hmm. And the police department didn't officially release it until the next morning. So they waited until the election was over so they wouldn't hurt the sheriff.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was another update with the story.
Yeah, so the second update, part of the original story was, there is a body cam video of this. Mm-hmm. And so it turns out there's dash cam video and there's a body cam video. But somehow the body cam became unplugged from the battery. And if you watch the dash cam, they say while they're fighting, they're saying it's not difficult to unplug it while you're fighting with a suspect, which in the first place, they know that's something that's going to happen, especially in a deadly force situation where you have to shoot somebody. Mm-hmm. So why would you create such a vulnerability that it's easily unplugged?
And this is going to become a common theme. I mean, not only for this show, but for subsequent shows that as we go through about body cams not working at crucial moments.
Oh yeah,
and they also
they
released the video
again and again.
Yeah, they released the video in a disingenuous way. Instead of releasing it to the public, they invited select members of the local media and released it to them. And then that media released a really chopped up, incomplete video.
Yeah, highly edited.
Stating that it was too graphic for them to show.
Yeah.
But if you watch what you can see on that video, they're not wrestling around. So that whole idea that the body cam became unplugged because they were struggling with each other. Really what happens is the Robbie Ramirez advances toward Collins a little bit. And he looks like he's kind of throwing punches, but he's not really connecting or anything. And they're not wrestling around, so there's no, jostling that would knock the video loose. What you do see toward the end is it looks like he slips and falls down, and he's not visible on the dash cam. And since they cut it off, you don't know if that's the end, but that's where that body cam would come into effect because he would still be visible on the body cam. So who knows, if he fell down and he's on the ground, there's no reason to shoot him. Mm-hmm. If that's the end of the video is him falling down, it shouldn't be justifiable for him to shoot him because he's laying on the ground. It's not a threat at that point.
I feel like not only did the Wyoming Police Department fail the people by rehiring this dude in the first place, but they also failed them by not doing the public justice in being transparent and releasing all the footage they have to the public. And then also, I feel like the media definitely plays a role in this, in that
so you
they're
think
not
do you think it's
justice
collusion?
to the public. Oh, for sure. You know how it works, but it's just crazy that they would.
Yeah.
And there is a local group that has started up. It's I forget the exact name, but it's in the article.
Definitely head over to Nevada Cop Block.
Yeah.
Check out the article.
So it kind of sprung up overnight. It's a local group, and it's they're basically demanding that they release the body cam video.
Nice.
And also, they had one of the local newspapers had a online poll asking should the sheriff's department have released the video, and the last time I saw it was like 92% said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see how they're serving the public, you know.
Yeah, they don't care. It's like they want to give the image of transparency without being fully transparent. We see that happening more and more often with Metro. So they say, oh, yeah, we release all our body cam footage. But more and more lately, especially this year, we're not getting full videos. I mean, there was that guy that robbed a super pawn, I think it was, and the video ends. You don't see when they sick the dog on him. You don't see when they gun him down.
Yeah.
Same with the last shooting we were just talking about. They only show the first shot, but they shot the guy 7 times. So they claim, well, this is for your own good. The public can't handle seeing this kind of footage. You know what I mean? But really, they just don't want the reality of the situation getting out, just how brutal the police are on the people and just how they unload their whole clips. And so we're going to have a body cam coming up where it actually was released through the courts. In Denver, it was like 50 shots. So I mean, if it happened in Vegas, you'd see the first shot, and that would be the end of it. But
yeah. Well, one of the things that I also brought up in that article is the propensity that the LVMPD has for losing body cam videos or forgetting to turn their video on or it becoming corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And I linked to a bunch of examples in previous stories, but that's a pretty common theme. And that's why, like in the article, I said, you know, Derek Colling had his, you know, didn't forget his training at the LVMPD because they do that. They make video disappear, or they forget to turn it on, or there's some kind of malfunction.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common thing with the LVMPD when it doesn't benefit them.
Right.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
correct.
So definitely check out those articles. That's one of the great things about NB Cop Block is it's not just one story and then we forget about it. Constantly going back, providing updates. If an officer is charged, we often follow up with a story, you know, months or even years later. Oh, big surprise, the charges were dismissed. And, you know, following through with cases that the mainstream media just lets be swept under the rug. So go check out the website, nvcopblock.org.
And that is one of the things I would encourage anybody who is following police misconduct and you know, advocating for accountability is to follow those cases, because that's what happens often is you have that arrest and it's usually something so egregious that they can't get away with not arresting the cop. And everybody's like, oh, see, he got punished, he got held
The
accountable.
justice has been served.
And then you have where he gets a plea deal, or they drop the charges altogether.
Or he's allowed to retire.
Yeah, not even fired.
Right. And keeping all his benefits, and then move on
Yeah.
to reign terror in a different city,
Yep.
in a different state.
Yeah, that's the other thing is they allow them to retire or to resign, and then they get hired somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah. So not only check out the website, but I think, weren't you working on a newsletter that people can sign up for?
Yeah, you can go on. You can go on the site and you can sign up to the site. And I haven't set it up completely, but eventually there will be the option of either having a email every time a story is posted, which is the way it's set up right now, but so that people don't get their emails boxes flooded, we're going to set up like a weekly wrap-up kind of thing, like a weekly
And you can select
consolidated.
just how
Right.
much you
Yeah.
want to remain involved.
How much you
right?
could stomach of the police brutality that we expose.
Yeah, and so that's
Right.
good, you know,
Definitely.
just to keep up with the site. But the reason that's also important, and the reason that I started working on it, is because of the censorship with Facebook. And we don't know, like, if there's going to be another purge and we're going to be completely off of social media at some point. And
Yeah.
beyond that, I think that the steps that Facebook and other social media things have done is something where we should be moving away from it on our own. We should be
Absolutely.
vacating social media.
So we're going to be trying to go to some of these other platforms. Not trying, but we will when we get some time. MeWe, Minds.com. Those are two that I definitely want to get at least ACAB Radio, Nevada Cop Block onto these platforms, just because they're blockchain based. They don't censor anything. So
Yeah, and that's really
look into
been kind of a long time coming, because there's been social media has been less effective over the last couple of years, but like really Facebook especially, and Twitter and YouTube are where you can reach new people that aren't already following your stories, and where you can reach a mass of people.
Yeah.
But with the recent purges and the recent throttling of shares and that sort of thing, that's not the case as much as it used to be, and I think it's not going to be the case at all soon.
Yeah. So that can be some of the issues with other alternatives like MeWe and Minds, is that these are people that already realize that censorship is a problem and leave. So they're already, people that are pretty well informed, already follow police brutality or other anarchists or anti-war, peace, freedom movements, those type of like-minded individuals. So it can become an echo chamber when you go to these other platforms. That's why I'm encouraging everybody, spread
move
it.
over, yeah,
Move over,
spread
make
it.
make Facebook the next MySpace.
And the trade-off with that used to be, you had to deal with the spam and the ads and giving up your personal information, and having that, you could try to minimize it as much as possible, but you still have some private information being out, put out to these corporations to use for ads. But like I said, the value, used to be if you were in independent media, you had limited resources to do your own ads. So the value of reaching people, you would have to offset that with what you gave up. But that's not becoming an offset anymore, because they're limiting our reach.
Yeah, so they're throttling pages, pages that are anti-war, peace, freedom, anarchist thought, police accountability. All these types of pages their reach is being limited. Ours especially, where it just won't show up in news feeds. Personally, I just got off of a ban for sharing our show into groups, and it's not like I'm spamming into every group that I'm a part of. It's specifically police accountability groups that want this kind of content. That's why people join these groups, and the admins of the groups encourage this kind of material, and so I share the content in there, and I get banned for a week. So that's just me trying to get our show out there, try to get new viewers, which is what Facebook is for. It's for you to put out your own content to reach people, and it's people that want this information, and they're, banning us for it. So I just did it again. I'm sure I'll get banned again. But
And I've had that, and I've actually never had an outright ban from Facebook. I don't know why or how I've avoided it, but I've had where they're like, you're not allowed to share anymore for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's me sharing between pages, and it's selectively doing that to pages that are police accountability pages or whatever subject that I'm working on at the time. It's not me just spamming it around to random pages.
I mean, even if it's your pages, you started the page, you should be able to decide what goes on it.
Right.
And your viewers are the ones that go and like the page. So if they liked the page, then they like
Yeah, there's
what
people
you're
that are
putting up
looking
there.
for that
They want
information.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's even private pages that are locked down, that they ban and edit content.
Even your own timelines.
so-
you can
yeah.
post something on your own timeline, and they'll say it goes against their community standards. Like, this is my fucking timeline, dude, and it's not even.
And I also have events where normally you can invite 500 people to an event.
Unless you're
And
Kelly.
right, and some, it's sort of random also, but every once in a while, they block me down to 50 people or something like that.
Yep.
And these are events I have, I maintain lists of people. When I invite people to events,
You're
if
keeping lists.
if I'm doing an art show, I invite artists and people that I think might actually come to that. I don't just randomly.
Right,
Invite your
pick
whole
people out of
friends
state,
list.
and people
So-
in other countries
Right,
that
so I'm
won't
not,
be able to attend.
I'm not
Sure.
spamming people with events.
Yeah.
So if I invite you to a Nevada Cop Block event, you're somebody, first of all, in the location where I'm at, doing that event if it's, you know, location based.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're somebody that's displayed an interest in, you know, police accountability.
Yeah. I did the same thing for the Tashi Brown Mother's Day vigil. So I went through all my friends list, people that I know would be interested, people that are in Vegas. I mean, went through all my friends. Took a fucking long time, dude, just to make sure I'm inviting the right people that I think would show up. And then when I click invite after selecting them all, it says, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
we can't do this at this time. It's like, fuck you.
Right. And then they'll be like, they'll let you do that sometimes, and then the next time you try to do it, they'll be like, it looks like you're using this function
In a way that it wasn't.
wasn't intended for.
Yeah.
And like, no, I'm inviting people to an event. That's what it was intended
That's
for.
what it is.
That's exactly the fucking purpose.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So fuck Facebook. You know, like I'm saying, you know, that trade-off of giving your personal information, there used to be, you know,
Right, you got something
you had
for
to
it.
kind of knuckle down and do that. But we're getting to the point where we can just clear ourselves and be private and still reach people if we go back to, you know, web-based and
Yeah.
newsletters and that sort of thing.
So, yeah, that's why it's so important. I mean, bookmark Nevada Cop Block, foodnotbombslasvegas.org. Bookmark the pages, sign up for newsletters, and then we cut out the middleman. We don't have to worry about censorship. Another site you guys should check out that Facebook
We should do hashtag
censored.
fuckzuck. I don't know if that's already out there, but it should be.
It should
If it isn't, we should start it.
definitely.